Hi guys, Squirrel here. Welcome to Europort in Rotterdam. As you can see, it's a very, very busy and very laggy place to be right now. Just look at the queue of cars. Sorry, look at the queue of trucks. It is unbelievable how busy this place is. And this is the queue to use the ferry at Rotterdam. I mean, this just makes me laugh. It's almost like real life, isn't it? You have to excuse the frame rate though, because it does take a tanking when there's this many vehicles on the road. But you can see just how popular this game has got. 2,500 people regularly on the server. Feels like half of them are at Rotterdam all the time. Every single truck you see here is a player. Every one. There are no AI vehicles in the Euro Truck multiplayer. Some people are losing patience. Or maybe they're just bored. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to show you how to... Oh, cheeky down the hard shoulder. Block him! Don't let him in! Don't let him in! In this video, I'm going to show you how to install the Euro Truck multiplayer, what you need to do, the requirements you need to play this, how to get yourself set up, how to connect to the servers, and then I'm going to talk about the gameplay, stuff that you can do inside, pros and cons, tricks and tips, and all that good stuff. So while I queue up to get through this ridiculous ferry crossing, let's crack on with a guide to the Euro Truck Simulator 2 multiplayer product. Let's talk about requirements for the Euro Truck multiplayer. First and foremost, and it sounds obvious, you're going to need Euro Truck Simulator 2. Now, I say it's obvious, it's not, because you need Euro Truck Simulator 2 on Steam. You can't have the boxed products or a product key. It has to be the Steam version. The reason is the multiplayer will authenticate your copy of Euro Truck on your account. So you must have a full copy of the game on your account. I tried this and it doesn't work with Steam family sharing. So if you've got an account that doesn't have Euro Truck but somebody in your family does, you can't use that version of Euro Truck. You have to purchase Euro Truck and install it onto your Steam account. That out of the way, you then need to make sure that you're only using official DLC. So Going East DLC map extension is supported, but any other map extension like Pro Mod, TSM, all those map extensions are not supported. Truck mods, trailer mods, not supported. Literally the only thing that they support is official SCS content. So what you're going to have to do as well is disable all of your mods in your profile in Euro Truck. Now, in terms of Steam getting set up, there are some other things that you need to do, and that is to make your Steam profile public, because what happens is the multiplayer will try and authenticate that you've got this game on your profile. And the way it does that is to talk to Steam and say, hey, does this guy have Euro Truck on his profile? And in order to do that, you need to have privacy settings set to public. To do that, click on your name top right, click on View Profile, then click on Edit Profile, and then My Privacy Settings, and here you see Profile Status Public. That must be set to public, otherwise the multiplayer will not be able to authenticate against you. The final thing you need to do is back in your library, right click on Properties of Euro Truck Simulator, go to betas and make sure you're opted out of all betas. You cannot be opted into anything. It has to say none, opt out of all betas. We're going to need something else later. You can make a note of it now if you like, but that is the install directory, and you get that by clicking on Local Files, then Browse Local Files. That will bring up something like this. Across the top here it will say where you've got Euro Truck Simulator 2 installed, in case you don't know it. Because it's on Steam, it's going to be inside Steam, Steam Apps, Common Euro Truck Simulator 2, but it just depends where you've installed it. I've installed it into D Game Steam. What you want to do is click on that, Control C to put it in the clipboard, or just make a note of it basically. You're going to need that folder later when you tell the installer where Euro Truck is installed. In terms of profile, I recommend that you create a brand new profile to play Euro Truck multiplayer. You can use any existing profile that you have, however you will have to go into that profile and disable all of the mods. You make sure that absolutely everything here is unticked. Whatever you've got there, untick it right away, otherwise you will not be able to play the multiplayer. Why do I recommend a new profile? Well, simply because it keeps it away from your career profile, and just in case something happens where your profile gets corrupted, then you won't be able to blame the multiplayer for doing that. You can, of course, use an existing profile if you want to, but if you do create a new one, then don't forget that you can get yourself set up, create a new profile, go through initial driving, get yourself onto your very first truck, get a loan, get your first truck, do a couple of jobs in other words, make sure all your controls are set up, and then you're ready to play the multiplayer. Don't just create a new profile and then join the multiplayer. Get your profile in a state where it's playable in offline mode before you go into online mode. Now don't forget one other tip. You can, if you go to Euro Truck Simulator 2, not that folder, if you go to this folder, Euro Truck Simulator 2 profiles in your documents folder, wherever your documents is, this is where your profiles are kept, okay? You may have a number of profiles like I do, you don't know which one is your brand new multiplayer one. Well, whichever one you just played last, if you sort by date, will be at the top. So given that I just went in there and came back out again, you can see the date is now the 7th of September, that's now for me. This is my multiplayer profile. If I go in here, you've noticed I've got a whole bunch of files. Ignoring the profile.sii, these three, controls and config, all of those files there, config, controls and all the gearbox splitters, you can copy those from your career profile. Just bring them over, drop them straight in here. Do not copy over the actual profile file because that is a binary file and that contains data about your profile, but these are just straight text files and these contain all your control settings. So if you've got a wheel set up, all of your settings will be held in here. Your config, you know, whether you've got sleep mode enabled and all the rest of it will be in here, and if you've got gearbox in use, the range and the splitter settings will all be in these files. Copy them over. You don't need to go through that painful setup process to get your settings right. Just bring these files in from your career into your brand new multiplayer profile and that'll speed things up enormously. Okay, so once you've gone through the requirements that I went through, once you've got your profile ready that you want to play with, you're now ready to download and install Euro Truck Multiplayer. To do that, you go to ETS2MP.com and this link will be in the video description along with other links that I'm going to talk about in this video. You need to click on download. When you click on download, it's going to say to you to download the mod, you need to sign up through your Steam account. This is the authentication process here. If this goes wrong, you need to go back and check the requirements that I told you about earlier. But otherwise, click on this. It'll then ask you to sign up through Steam. So what you want to do is you want to put your username in there. You want to put in your password and you want to click sign in. The multiplayer will authenticate, and if it's worked, this is what you will now get. It will say this is your download link. Do not re-upload this file. This 1 mirror is the only true virus-free link. Pay attention to this. Do not download the multiplayer from anywhere else but this website. It is possible that somebody else has taken this binary and added a virus to it and all kinds of nastiness. Don't take the risk, guys. Just use ETS2 MP, go through this authentication process and then download this here. Save the file. It's not that big. Once it's saved, you're ready to install. Once that's downloaded, and it really shouldn't take very long, you should end up with a zip file, or you just open up the zip file and there'll be an install ETS2 MP inside. Double click that, click on run, click on yes, and English is a choice. English, Espanol, Dutch, Polski. There's quite a few choices there. I'm going to go for English because I can't actually understand any other language. And then next, do I accept the agreement? Have a read through, should you want to, but it's basically saying don't mess about and reverse engineer this thing. Now, it's going to want to know where do you want to install it. Now, I'm going to go for my games folder because I put all of my games in there. It happens to be an SSD, which means it runs quickly. So games, Euro Truck Simulator 2 multiplayer is where I'm going to install it. This, you can put where the heck you like. It's up to you. Next button. Now, this is the important thing. Do you remember before when I said to you make a note of that folder? This is the folder that it needs right now. If I bring that across here. So if you've still got this folder open, you need to copy this and you need to put it into here. This is telling the multiplayer, this is where my Euro Truck multiplayer is installed. It needs that. It has to be correct. Then click next. and then click next again, and it'll say create an icon, register the ETS2 MP protocol, click next, install, and that's it. You are now installed the Eurotruck multiplayer. We are now ready to launch. Final note on launching: you must launch this game as an administrator. If you don't know how to do that, the easiest way is to go to your Steam icon on your desktop, right click and say run as administrator. So when Steam then runs administrator, it will start the game as administrator. If you don't do that, it won't be able to hook in to the running program and inject the other players and all the other stuff that's going on. So other than that, if you've got yourself running as administrator, which you probably have, click launch and go. Now, when you run this thing, it's going to ask you, do you want to change the command line and which server do you want to play on? Now, let's just talk very quickly about that. If we go back here, click on home, you'll notice there's a status icon. This shows you the status of the servers and how many servers there are. There are currently 2 servers, a European one and a United States one. For some reason, the United States one, as you can see, is not heavily used. The European one, on the other hand, regularly has between 2,000 to 2,500 players in it at any one time. If you're watching this and you're from the States, I would ask you to jump into the States server. I don't know why there are 100 people in the United States playing this. It's crazy. But maybe everybody just piles into here because there are more players. I don't know. Anyway, when you start the multiplayer, this is what it's asking you. Which server do you want to go into? And I'm just going to go into Europe 1. I don't have any command lines to give it, so I'm just going to click play. Okay, so when it starts, it'll say on the top left there, you see Eurotruck Simulator 2 multiplayer, and then the version number that you're currently running. And underneath that, it then says what Eurotruck version is. Back on the website, it will tell you what the current status is. Well, I'll go through that shortly. Anyway, make sure you now choose your multiplayer profile and click continue. You should notice that loads pretty quickly. It's amazing when you don't have any mods how quickly this game loads. Let's just see where we are. Bottom left there, pay attention to that. Connecting to EU #1 server, it may take some time. Connection established. Now, we're in multiplayer Eurotruck, and you can see there's a player over there in that garage. You see him parked inside the garage, but it has his name, TKM Sasha, 90 Russia. That's TKM is probably his virtual trucking company profile. There are no virtual trucking companies in the game currently, so what they recommend you do is put your tag name in square brackets to show that you're in a virtual trucking company. I'm just going to get out of the way of this guy. I'm going to move over here while we talk about some things. Right, now top right, as I say, it says online EU #1. That's the server, remember that? No collision area. Now, this is important because we're in a multiplayer server. There are collisions. Let's just turn my engine off a second. There are collisions and there are non-collision zones. Okay, this is a non-collision zone. You'll find if you go to a garage, you're in a non-collision area. That means if that player was to drive his truck over to me, he'll drive right through me. He cannot hit me. There's a very good reason for this, is because if you go to repair in a garage, for example, and you sit on that icon just next to me to repair, if there was collisions, if one guy was sat on it, nobody else could get to it. So they have non-collision areas where, you know, 10 people can sit on top of each other on that icon. That means you're safe here. You can't be rammed, you can't have a collision. You get out on the road, different story. It's suddenly a collision zone and you can be hit. Now there are some commands that you can do. You may notice down the bottom left there, you've got the chat. So if I press the Y key, you can see the chat comes up and I can type things. I can just say hi, like that. Not a problem. If you've got F9 key, I think it is, that will toggle the chat on or off. If you don't want it, just press F9 to get rid of it. The other thing you can do is you can do a slash, let's bring the chat up, you can do /PM space and then a private message to a particular player, or you can do a /reply if somebody PMs you, or just /R will do it, and that will actually reply to the last PM that was sent to you. So you can private message each other or just say hi. Of course nobody's saying hi because they probably don't have the chat turned on, but that's another story. Another thing is if you press the tab key, it shows players near me, which is kind of cool. It'll show you the ping time. Some people have got some rather interesting pings, 300 milliseconds. It doesn't tell you where they are, but it just tells you if they're in the near vicinity. And that Sasha guy we just saw a second ago, he's just drove off, so that's tab key. And last thing is, which we can't see now, is the F11 key. If you press the F11 key, the player names on top of the trucks go off, and as you can see, the status at the top left and top right, they also go off. Now there is one rather interesting aspect about this game, and that is the control of time. I'm just going to drive around to this garage here. Actually, I'll go to that sleep area on the right because I want to show you something. Basically, you may be wondering, you know, do you have to sleep in this game? How is time controlled and all the rest of it? Simple answer to that is the server controls all time. You don't get to choose what the time of day is. So it's night time now, and it's 2:24 AM. I think I worked it out that it stays roughly dark for about an hour or two, and then daylight for about an hour or two. I can't remember the exact timings I recorded, but I think if I remember, it was something like 2 hours of darkness and 2 hours of daylight. In other words, the server runs its own kind of clock, and you'll see a lot of drivers just literally pull up for the night, or they'll log off for a bit and they'll come back later. Let me show you what happens. We're in a resting zone. Now normally if I rested here, I'd skip time, wouldn't I? Pay attention to the clock. 2:28 AM. I'm going to rest. I can't. I'm not tired. Damn. I can't show you that. If I rested, I'll tell you what happens though. The time jumps forward, you rest as normal, and then as soon as you come back here, about 5 seconds later, the time gets reset back to where it was. Trust me on this, you can't do anything about the time in this game. Bottom left there it says, if you see any player breaking the rules, type /report and ID and the reason to report him. They do take a number of things quite seriously in this game. Admins are always watching, and they take a very dim view of rammers, blockers, and people being abusive in chat. Okay, so they try and keep it so that it's friendly for everybody. If you do happen to see somebody ramming you or blocking you constantly, generally trolling you, or even just saying hate speech down here, report them. Just do a /report with their ID, that's the player name, and the reason, and the admins will check it out. And let me tell you that they're not they don't hold back. They will ban people if there's enough proof there that they were being abusive and breaking the rules. Which brings me to another thing. Make sure that you actually check out the rules on Euro Truck multiplayer, because they do have a big list of things, you know, expectations of you as a player. This is a multiplayer environment. There are a lot of people playing this server, and they want everybody to have a good time. There are no AI cars in the multiplayer. It removes all of them, and the only thing that you'll see moving on the roads is other people, other players, alright? However, you can still get jobs in the job market, and if you click on the freight market, you can see I'm down here in Dortmund. Now I have a number of garages that I've purchased. I think I've got Dortmund and Hanover and one other one. Is it Dusseldorf? I can't remember. Possibly Kiel actually. What you can do is exactly the same as in offline mode. If you've got a garage, you can fast teleport over to the garage. So you may want to think about that when you're expanding. You may want to have, you know, a garage maybe in the United Kingdom, one down here in Italy, one up there in Poland, one in Germany, possibly one in Hungary, just so that when you want to play with your friends, wherever you are, wherever they are, you can fast track to a city near each other so that you can quickly get hooked up and start playing. However, I'm in Dortmund, and you can see the jobs. Now, if you don't see any jobs here, okay, then there is a forum post that I'll link in the video description that helps you. But one of the things that I did was I went into my profile, remember the folder I showed you earlier, and I edited the config file, and there's a setting there about reset economy. If you set that to 1, okay, come out of the game, set it to 1, go back into the game, and it'll reset the economy. It'll put you back in your hometown, and you should then hopefully see all of these start to appear again. But then what you need to do is quit the game, edit the file again, and set the reset economy flag back to 0. Otherwise, every time you start the game, it'll reset your economy, and you don't want that. You just want it to reset it once. But I found that when I reset my economy, suddenly all of these jobs started to come back again. Now I'm going to take this because I want to go via Rotterdam, which is one of the busiest places in Euro Truck multiplayer, Rotterdam. So we're going to take that. See a lot of foreign language down here. So let's go and pick up this job. So here we are, we're here to collect our job. Now look at this. Now we're in a collision zone at the moment. If I went over there, I would drive into that truck, there would be a collision. But inside this bit is a non-collision area, so I'm free to drive. I know it looks kind of bizarre, but that's just the way the game works. I can now take this job, like so. And now if I go external, there's my my job over there. It's kind of hard to see when I'm inside another vehicle. But I'm sure you appreciate, if this was not a if this was a collision zone, what kind of hell this would be right now, with all these other drivers of varying degrees of skill, I must admit, and also they've never had to pass a truck driving test in order to drive their vehicles, so you can just imagine what it would be like. Not everybody can reverse, trust me. So off we go. Do I need beacons? I'm going to put them on anyway, because everybody seems to be running beacons. But everybody here is a player. Look, we've got 5 different players, all truckers, all loving the game. We've got Scanias. We've got plenty of Scanias and a Volvo. Maybe some of them will watch this video later and say, oh my god, that was actually me. Look at this guy waiting to get in. That's just kind of cool. I'm actually speeding. The speed limit is 60. There's a hard cap speed limit in this game, in the multiplayer. There's a hard cap speed limit of 90. Okay? You cannot go over the 90, and I think the reason they did that was so that if you did get people ramming each other, then the damage wasn't too substantial. So you can see I'm obeying the speed limit, but, you know, this dude here on the left, you know, he's most definitely not. And I say I'm obeying the speed limit, I'm already 10 kilometers over it. So he's cutting me up quite a bit there. Driving skills? Probably. Another thing to pay attention to is now you can see, obviously I've got a good network connection and so has he, so he's not jerking around. You do get players that jerk around quite a lot, and that is down to the network ping. So you want to be aware. I mean, we're driving at night, and you know it's not so bad on the motorways and stuff. But I've been on the twisty Alps at night, and let me tell you, some of those roads are very twisty. When people come round them, they tend to cut into them, and their trailer cuts all the way onto your side of the road. So a word of warning: when you're in the Alps driving at night, or even in the day actually, but especially at night because you can't see them so easily. Just beware of people coming around bends. Their trailers will cut into your side, and you will get collision damage and a repair bill to go with it. So you want to try and avoid that. There are no AI vehicles to worry about. You've just got to worry about other drivers. But you know, you don't want to get damage, and he doesn't want to get damage. I kind of like that the time is server controlled. I did wonder how they were going to solve that one, because obviously you can't have people resting and then they find it daytime and you don't. However, I know that the weather system is local, so whatever you've got your rain setting on, if it starts binning it down with rain for you, you know, the friend that you're with, it probably isn't raining for him. It's probably nice and sunny for him. So be aware of that one. It's not server controlled weather. It's only server controlled time. So you might want to slide the rain setting down or up, however you feel you want to play. But you know, it's only raining for you, basically. It's like somebody's got a little shower head over your truck, and it's just raining for you. As I said, there are no virtual trucking companies built into this game. I think they're kind of planning to do something, but I'm not sure what. I'm not sure what the timescales are or how adventurous their plans are. But a lot of people just, like I say, they change their name. And you know, if you wanted to drive for Squirrel Logistics, then you know, maybe you want to change your name to SQRL. Put like a square bracket SQRL Squirrel, and you know, that could be the way of saying I drive for Squirrel Logistics. That'd be kind of cool. I may even do that myself. It's just that obviously I don't want to bring too much attention to myself when I'm recording videos, because if people start to recognise me in the multiplayer, then let's just say everybody wants to be on TV. So what you tend to find is if they say, oh, that's Squirrel over there, you know, he might be recording, I fancy being in one of his videos, and next thing they're pulling up in front of me and tooting the horn, putting the beacons on and braking and all the rest of it. It kind of ruins the video a little bit. It's alright in small doses, but you know, people tend to go too far with these things. So I may or may not put Squirrel. If I see a lot of people with Squirrel in their name, then I'll put mine in, because that way it's anonymity, because there are so many people doing it then. But if it's just me, I'm not going to do it, because that would draw attention to myself, and you know, I'm sure you understand, but I don't want to do that. One thing to bear in mind about this multiplayer product is whenever SCS release a patch, the multiplayer won't work until they fix it. So on the web page, it tells you what version of Eurotruck. It tells you the version of the mod, if you want to call it a mod. It's not really a mod. This guy's slowing down a little bit here. It tells you the version of the mod, and it also tells you the tells you the version of Eurotruck that it supports. That guy's sticking his back end a little bit too much over. And if if Eurotruck, like we're on 1.12.1 at the moment, 1.13 is due out very, very soon. As soon as 1.13 comes out, the multiplayer won't work. Straight away, it will just stop working. And then, the boys over in, I think they're in Poland, I'm not sure, or Czechoslovakia, I can't remember. They will have to basically change the multiplayer mod, adapt it to whatever changes SCS have done in. But as far as I'm aware, they have a decent working relationship with SCS. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but hopefully, they're on the beta team. They're completely aware of up-and-coming changes to the game, and so they, generally speaking, can get out a patch to the multiplayer fairly quickly. I think they quote within 2 days normally, give or take. It depends on how complicated it is. But that's something to bear in mind, is when Eurotruck releases, the multiplayer will go effectively offline for a day or two until they've patched it, and then you'll have to download the latest version and repatch it again. I was noting the multiplayer, then you could see the guy in front of me lagging a little bit, and that's something to be aware of. Is don't get too close to the guy in front, because our client knows where he is just because of what the network is telling us. And if we suddenly get a little bit of network lag, a bit of latency, a bit of server stutter, you can suddenly find yourself in the back of that truck before you know what's going on. And the repair bill is not pretty. It happened when Corrales and I were playing. Look at all these people now. Thank you for not turning into my path. That's beautiful. Some nice driving going on as well. It's good to see people actually playing this seriously. I'm not going to worry about that speeding offence. I'm just trying to keep up with this guy. Oh my god. Just as I say, we've got decent driving. Yeah. Always be on your guard is what I would say. Always be on your guard. But look how many people there are. It's just unbelievable. Occasionally, I imagine you do get a bit of carnage, but you can get genuine accidents. I mean, real life, you're going to get genuine accidents. In this game, it's going to be no different as well. If you want to get support on this thing, the best thing you can do is go to the multiplayer forums, ETS2MP.com. Go to the forums. There are posts in there like frequently asked questions, common problems that people have, how to fix it, things to check for. It's lots and lots of details, lots of support. If you can't find any help there, then you could make a post and try and get some help. Or even if you find a bug, there's a section for reporting bugs on there, so that you can help the guys make this better and better. I don't really know what the future is. I'd like to get in touch with them. I've got the community manager on my email and on Skype now, so I'm going to have a chat with him. Say, look, where is this thing going? I mean, given we've got American Truck Simulator in the future, are you going to be doing a multiplayer for that? I'm guessing they will. I can't see why they wouldn't. But where are you taking this beyond what it currently does? What other features are you going to add into it? How far can you go with it? How far will SCS allow you to go with it in terms of what the game will support you trying to do? All of these things I'd like to get questions, like to get answered, which, maybe I'll do a future video and cover some of that stuff. What the hell? What on earth is going on? Oh my god. The guy's just bouncing up and down. That is crazy. That is mental. What on earth is causing that? I don't need to go anywhere near that guy. Finally. Europort. Taking about 15 minutes just to get here. It's like being on the M25, this. I'm going to let him go. I'm going to take a slightly wider swing to get round. Oh god! Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! Jesus! Oh, don't toot me, pal. You're flying down there. I think the dock. Yeah, it says go left. I don't know why he's going right. I think he's gone the wrong way. Who's tooting me? What's this scumbag in the mirror? What are you doing? Oh my god, he's tipping over! He's actually binned it. How did he do that? Oh, that is a trucking disaster, mate. I'm not sure who's got right away here. I'll let him go and I think I'll go in. Hello? Hello, cheeky. Yeah, well done, GG. Where exactly are you going now? Now nobody can get in, can they? Oh, Mr. Volvo. I don't think so, pal. Oh, it's a no collision zone. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Oh, in that case, let's just all pile in there. Yeah. That reality. Look at this. Just like a real life trucking depot. Right, finally on the other side. Whoa! What the hell? What the hell? Where did he come from? Holy cow! GG, mate. Did he spawn under me or something? Oh my god, did the game spawn him underneath me? That is brilliant. I can't move. Oh, he's logged off or something. 7% damage to my truck and all it did was try and leave the port. Welcome to England. Nice. I'll be on my way then. See you later.